this year now? Is it looking that way because you're starting to see maybe more success than you thought?
Yeah, I think we want to establish the run. I think that gives us a chance to control the ball, gives us a chance to eat up the clock, gives us a chance to gain some good yards. And I think there's a chance for big plays with the type of running game that we have going right now. And so it does offer us a chance to be successful offensively. And we've got to keep getting better in it, and we've got to be able to continue to just keep it going in the right direction. We are improving on our running game, and yet the pass game has got to continue to be something that we can rely on when we need to as well. And so, yeah, I like the way we ran the ball on Saturday. I mean, you look at just what we did from a stat standpoint, the numbers, and we did some really good things to improve in the ground game, and yet it could still be better. You know, we went back and looked at the film. There's still lots of improvements that can be made.
Looking at the defense, okay, gave up a couple more points. Did you see improvement from maybe a certain aspect more than another?
Yeah, I think kind of on the contrary, we're stopping the run really well on defense. We're doing a good job of being aggressive versus the run. We've got to do a better job of pass plays and big pass plays. You know, we're kind of giving up 2 to 4 plays that just kind of are putting them in a position to score or giving up a direct score. And there's a lot of good plays in between there. And then, you know, obviously defensively, if you give up one, two, three, four of those, it ends up being points on the board. So we've got to do a better job of just minimizing those bigger pass plays. And, you know, that's something that we're definitely going to hit on here as we go into the future.
Coach, speaking on that run game, Eli Rouse comes in and the production that he had, can we expect to see him have more carries and more opportunities the rest of the season?
Yeah, I hope so. The running back room right now has been extremely up and down with the bodies that are available. And so I think both Coach Lindquist and I have had a frustration of who's available, who do we have. And, you know, Elizen made himself available just this week, I think, full-time basis-wise. And so we didn't know if he was going to be able to go or not. And he took a lot of reps in practice. And, you know, he was the next guy up. And so he happened to get an opportunity and he took advantage of it. You know, credit to him. And yes, I would say he's going to be a guy that should be in there and should get reps, and he's going to get better. I think having that first game underneath his belt and the significance of what he did, I think is going to help him a lot, give him confidence, and you know, he can even be that much better too. And so, yeah, he's going to be a big part of it. And you know, we got to get some other guys back too, and try to get some more guys, you know, just working together with that, because we found out on Saturday there was at one point in time where there was a guy that went out right away, and another guy's over there getting stretched, and you know, before you know it, you're just thin at the running back position, and you got to be able to have a few ready to go.
Just overall, your thoughts about the lacrosse game in
Mm-hmm.
terms of, yeah, you got down 28-7, but you got a couple scores.
You know,
So you built some momentum at the end of the game at least.
yeah, yeah. I thought we didn't do as good of a job in the middle of the game as what I would have hoped it would have been competitive for us. I thought the second and third quarters were a little bit more in favor of them, and we probably just went on a little bit too much of a roller coaster ride up and down. And I like the way we finished, though, as you mentioned. I think our guys, they competed all the way through. I just think that when the going was tough and, you know, the grinding out of the second and third quarters, I think we needed to be better. And I think that's where you kind of saw some of those points get away from us, and we kind of stalled offensively. And that's where we just have to be better and more consistent. But I did like that at the end of the game, we were able to kind of put ourselves in a position to get back into a competitive part of it. You know, we were able to kick an onside kick. We didn't recover it, but at least our offense took the ball down. We scored. There was still enough time left. We had timeouts left. We were able to manage things in a way where, hey, you know, like we're setting ourselves up for an opportunity here. And so I like that our football team continued to play all throughout the game. And yeah, I think, you know, we've just got to learn how to finish better. We've got to learn how to just grow up into games where bad things happen, and you got to overcome them, and you got to respond, and you got to be able to fight through that adversity and persevere throughout the whole 4 quarters of the game.
And then, Coach, looking ahead, last non-conference, homecoming, expectations for that one,
Mm-hmm.
and what do you know about them? What do you kind of expect to see come game time?
Yeah, I think the expectations of our team is that we don't lose heart. Like, we've got to be able to continue to move forward, and we got to push the reset button every week. And what I told our team was, if we're only comparing ourselves to wins and losses right now, it's going to be a tough feeling. It's going to be hard. But if we're able to compare ourselves to improvement and focusing on what we can do better all the time and what we can fix and correct, and I think that's the message that I want our team to be able to grasp and embrace. And so that's my expectation, is that we'll come out, we'll still have great energy, we still have great motivation to play, and I think our team is getting better. And so we've got to be able to hold on to that and continue to play with that fire, and in the hope of, hey, this is gonna come to fruition eventually. And everybody wants to win, everybody wants to feel that, and yet we've got to do a great job of committing to the process of getting there first. And I think that's the expectation. Homecoming, really exciting time. People come back, and hopefully there's a great crowd there that we can play in front of and feel some excitement and some energy from them. And Alma's going to be a tough team. I think they're very disciplined, and I think they play really hard. And you just look at them, and they've had success, and so they've got some pride to their program. And every week I think we got our work cut out for us with the opponent. And at the end of the day, it's not about them. It's completely about what can we do to be a better version of ourselves from the week before. And if we can do that, I feel really good about us going in there and competing.
It was fun to open up Vanderbilt to the public. I think on Thursday that was, a really cool event to have, the president there, and all the athletes that came and were a part of that rededication. And just kind of finally, it's been a year-long process of getting this facility the way we want it, and all those meetings where you're just like in the weeds with every detail of like where this photo is going to go in the collage, or this is what we want the banners to say, these are the people we want in these positions. And then you put in there, you say, oh, now that everything's up, we want to move this and do that. And you're doing this all kind of sort of behind a closed door, but people are kind of seeing it. But to finally say like, hey, here's what Vanderbilt's all about, to have that moment was really cool. The match sucked. We lost 0-3. But the further away I get from it, the more, I am proud of how we competed. The second and third set especially was just 2 and a 3 point set. I take a lot of blame, I think, for that loss. I really wanted to win, and I made it very clear. And I just think I took the wrong approach and probably put more on the athletes than maybe I should have in that moment. And credit to them on Saturday. We lost to Minnesota Duluth, who they were, I think, number 14 in the country. They've now gone up. We lost 3-1, and we were competitive with them. The thing that we talked about after that loss was, competitive stamina wasn't there. So we would compete for 10 points at a time, and then we'd take 5 points where we weren't as competitive as we should have been. And so that was really a good learning curve. And then go play St. Cloud. And every match this year, truly, if you look at from that first match of the year against Minnesota State Moorhead to St. Cloud, I feel like we got better. We learned every match. And so that St. Cloud match was nothing more than taking this loss or this previous match, saying where are the areas we need to improve, regardless of the result, win or loss, and applying it. And we did that against St. Cloud. And, not only were they the number 7 team in the country, but they had the returning National Player of the Year, who went off. She had 32 kills, like crazy numbers. But we still won. And there's a lot of power in that, and saying, hey, the best player arguably in the country just had a career high night, and we still won. So it doesn't matter who walks on the other side of the net. We can beat anybody. Even if they have a good night, we can match that. And so that, I think, is huge, because they didn't lose the match. We won the match. We went out there and asserted ourselves and got it done. And so I'm just really proud of them for that.
Mackenzie had a career high night, speaking of, correct, with 15 kills.
Yeah.
How about her performance?
Yeah, Kenzie, she's a junior now. But I think the minute she was in our gym as a freshman, we said she's capable of being great. But there was a lot of work that had to go into it, and her saying to herself is water the bamboo, right? And that expression basically is, if properly taken care of, it takes 4 years for bamboo to mature. And so a college athlete's career typically is 4 years. And so she's lived by that mantra. And so the first year she had a little bit of success. Last year she had a little bit of a stumble, but she bounced back. This year she's finally starting to mature and come into her own and find that success. And, those of us that are in the gym on a daily basis see Kenzie thrive. And so when, you just see the ups and downs of her competing in a match, you don't realize that every day she's putting that work in. And so now she's just getting those results. And, but it's of no surprise to any of us inside the gym. But we're really excited for everyone else to see her kind of start to shine and get those accolades of being all tournament team. And the thing that I will always say is individual successes are really team successes, because especially someone like Kenzie in the middle does not get those opportunities without us passing the ball in system and without our setter delivering her a good ball. And then it's up to her in that moment to get the job done. And she did a great job of that. But I want to commend the defense, the passing, and the setting for allowing Kenzie to thrive in that moment.
Which means Allie had a good week.
Yeah. I mean, getting better every single day. There was a moment in that St. Cloud match. First of all, let's make no mistake, Jackie is fantastic, and oftentimes we'll look to her in big moments. But as we grow as a team, we need to make sure we're distributing the ball evenly. And you look at our St. Cloud box score, and we had, Helen Byring from, Calumet had, I think, 15 kills or 14 kills or 12, whatever it was. Kenzie had all those kills. And then Jackie did her thing. Megan was getting the job done. And so you have all of these people getting the ball and getting opportunities to get it done. So now when an opponent plays us, they can't just say, if we stop Jackie, we are going to win. Now, if they just focus all their attention on Jackie, we can get Kenzie, we can get Megan the ball, we can get Helen the ball, right? Casey Fortune came in reserve as that other outside in that St. Cloud match and did a great job. And so that's really what it came down with my discussion with Allie, was keep distributing the ball to the best available hitter. And what's the best available hitter? In any moment, it could be different, but a lot of times it's where's the one-on-one matchup, right? You have 3 blockers on the other side of the net. We make a pass. Oftentimes, the middle blocker on the other side of the net will cheat one way or the other to kind of they're making an educated guess. And if they start cheating early enough where Allie can see her and her periph set away from which direction she's going, and then you get a one-on-one. So that's where Helen was really thriving, as we were running Kenzie and Megan in front of the setter, kind of towards the outside, keeping our outside out at the antenna. They all cheat that way. You reverse the flow to Helen. Helen gets an open swing, an open opportunity. Does she always get it done? No, but you're giving us the best chance. And then when it became clear that Kenzie was doing her thing, I went up to Allie and said, I don't care, get Kenzie the ball, right? So then that's where it's kind of strategy of not just best available option, it's who is our go-to hitter in this moment, and in that moment it was Kenzie. So really proud of her. And Allie.
Coach, and then playing in these 2 tournaments before you start conference play, what are the advantages of that? Beginning of season and playing teams that aren't in your conference and teams that you very well might see later on in the season.
Yeah, it's an interesting game you have to play, because these decisions aren't made in August. These decisions are made in March and April about who you're going to play that next year, and it's all based on what your expectations are, right? The idea is to play the hardest teams that you can beat. But at the same time, our program is always pushing to win championships, and the only way you can be adequately prepared to win a championship is to play really good competition, right? So that Mankato tournament was designed for us to go 3-1 or 4-0, right? We went 3-1, should have been 4-0, but it is what it is. And got a little bit of confidence, got some wins. Then now we play Findlay, who's a perennial NCAA tournament team, the number 14 team in the country and the number 7 team in the country, and say, all right, what did we learn that first weekend that we can apply and hopefully knock some teams off? And we were able to do that. And so now we're walking, luckily it was the last match, right? So you can't have any more confidence than beating arguably the best team on paper the last match before you go into conference play. And so now the hope is that we cannot stay complacent, be happy, hey, great, a fun win that we can check off, as a great win for our program. Or we say, hey, we beat that team playing Northern Michigan volleyball. but how are we going to be better when we play Parkside on Friday? And so yesterday's practice was all about, hey, let's learn from the film. We did a lot of great things. We also did some things not great. How are we learning? How are we applying? We had a great practice yesterday, and the hope is that that trend just kind of continues and we keep getting better.
Yeah, I think everybody saw it. Everyone that was there, everyone that's read about it was they were amazed by the comeback. 25 minutes to go, they're able to find 2 goals, especially from guys that aren't necessarily the goal scorers. So I think it's a tremendous sign that these guys are not willing to give up and they're going to fight back. And if you look at the stats, we thoroughly dominated the whole game. Should have never been behind. So if we're going to learn that lesson, now's the time. A non-conference when we can dig ourselves out. So it was a great sign. Really didn't want to be in that position, but to see them fight back like that just shows a lot of resiliency and fight and determination. And ultimately, I think that that sort of recognition that the guys had of having that comeback now sort of in their back pocket, I think it gave them a better opportunity to play better on Saturday against Thomas More. So it was a big day for us for sure.
And then, Coach, we look at that Thomas More game, talking to you on Saturday, a complete game, a full 90 minutes. You guys take the lead and kind of never look back. What was it like to come from behind against Lewis and then basically dominate against Thomas More?
Yeah, I think, my interpretation is this. Good teams win games that they should win. Great teams win games that maybe they shouldn't win or are tough to win. So if we're winning the games that we should be winning, which I think we are, then we're a good team. So the question is, can we win those tougher games like Lewis, like we're going to have next weekend here? So we're still figuring out what we are in that sort of spectrum. In terms of the match itself, I thought there was much more energy in the back, building out of the back. I thought there was much more spirit when we lost the ball to get back in position to make sure there was no counterattacks. And I felt like we were just the dominant team all day. And the one thing I would say is that we have to figure out a way to score goals earlier. It could have been 0-0 at half, and that's a totally different game. So we've got to find a way, especially on second games of the week, either Saturday or Sunday, but when it's the second game of the week, to put away teams at home earlier and not keep them around. I think that's the biggest takeaway from that game. But tremendous performance from everybody. Obviously, Ali man of the match with 2 goals. He was fantastic, but so was the whole team, building out, making sure that we didn't concede. It's our 3rd shutout, which is, for me, very important. And then for someone like Kyle to come on, who hasn't really played much yet, he's been injured all season, and to get that 90th minute goal and just to see the celebrations, you can see how connected the guys are. So great day. You're never going to complain about a win at home and a dominant performance, but we're always going to look at the tape and try to get better. And I think for us, we got to score earlier goals and not keep teams around so long.
I wanted to talk about, I mess up the name, Tommaso.
Tommaso, yeah.
His leadership out on,
Yeah.
out on the pitch,
Yeah.
I guess. Very vocal from what I was hearing on Thursday. Talk about him, what his leadership brings to this group.
Yeah, we're a very vocal team, regardless of the language. But in terms of Tommaso, his leadership's been fantastic. I think he leads by example more than anything. It's not necessarily his words, it's his work rate, his passion. You can see it when you watch him play out on the field, but that's the level of energy he brings day in and day out in the locker room, on the training pitch. His passion for the game, his passion for his team is unmatched. It's unrivaled. So it's a great representation. It's a great thing for the young players to strive towards, because that's how your captain should be. Not only is he able to score goals and perform at a high level, which is the expectation of a player like himself, he's able to do that while also shouldering the burden of leading this group from essentially nothing into a winning program. That's a huge task for a young man. So for him to do both, I think it speaks volumes for his maturity and how far he's come in his 2 years here. So couldn't be more proud of a captain so far, but we got a long way to go. We're only 4 games into this thing, so we don't want to finish out just yet. But I think so far his leadership is sticking out as a big plus for us.
And Coach, I think something that stood out to me on Saturday was your ball movement and your pace of play.
Yeah.
When you guys are making those runs and attacking, but also not, at times not rushing things, making the extra pass to get it to the corner, to get across.
Right.
Is that a product of the training and kind of your guys' mentality headed into each match?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a product of training and continuing to get better on the ball, attacking-wise. That was always going to be the second phase of our tactical focus. So it's a product of training, but it's also a product of the guys are now playing more games together. They're figuring each other out a little bit more each game, each practice. So we want to play a possession style of soccer. However, that doesn't mean that you need to go forward every single time. But at the same time, it means that when those opportunities are there to go forward, you got to be direct. You got to have a killer instinct. So we want to make sure that we balance our attack between indirect and direct play. And I think the comfortability on the ball is just going to continue to get better.
Just a thought about this week.
It's a big one. You know, it's the first conference game, so everybody's going to be up for it. It's a home Saturday night game for St. Cloud. They're going to be up for it. They just scored 7 goals last Saturday against Upper Iowa. It was a GLVC team. So there's nothing that we're going to take into this game lightly. It's going to be a very, very tough game, and hopefully we come out of it with 3 points. It'll be a huge 3 points on the road to start the conference season. So St. Cloud's tough. They score a lot of goals. They have a lot of older senior players that have now been there for 4 years. They're a young program too. They were also very, very new in terms of their infancy. So they have a lot of experience, and they're hungry, and they're scoring goals. So, you know, and they've seen the success that we're having, so it's only going to be more motivation for them to sort of let us know that we're not that good. So our guys got to be ready for that fight. I think they will be. This is a good week for us to get a lot of rest because it's been a very intense preseason and non-conference season. So they're in recovery rest mode, and we're going to take as much time this week to get them healthy and fit and ready to roll on Saturday night. But yeah, it's a big one. You know, it's a night game. It's a conference opener. I mean, what else do you want? You know what I mean? It doesn't matter the opposition for us. So we're just going to go and keep trying to do the same things that we've been doing, and hopefully that comes out with 3 points in the end.
I think we had a week that showed progress in areas, in some moments. We did not put a full 2 matches together. I think that's probably the most disappointing part about it. But at the end of the day, when I kind of look at the body of work and our resume after 4 road games, there are some positives to take from it. You know, in terms of just the matchups, the head-to-heads that we now gained from this last weekend, in terms of just our body of work and looking forward to putting a really competitive resume together by the end of the year. And you know, the things that have progressed over the last, you know, few seasons and those expectations that have changed, I think the important thing to remember is that we want to be playing our best soccer in October. And so I didn't feel like we took major strides in week 1, but in week 2, I felt like there were some moments like Cedarville is a very good team. They are a very good team, and they're going to have a lot of success. And I think what we have to do from a coaching staff perspective is to change our game plans accordingly to what some opponents will be doing differently than what other opponents will be doing, right? And so Northwood had a much different game plan than Cedarville, and so I think it just took us a little bit too much time to get going, and then we just kind of gave away a bad goal too. So I think we got to be sharper and defensively a little bit more dynamic and unpredictable in the attacking third, and just got to be better in a couple different areas.
I think, Coach, it doesn't slow down. You begin conference play with another successful team, Grand Valley. Your thoughts on them and what to expect when that match rolls around?
Yeah, I mean, they're a very good side. They've got a lot of different weapons that can hurt you. Their front 3 are very seasoned, very good. Their back line is really good as well. Midfield, so pound for pound, they're a very good team, and they're very well coached. So anytime you get a team like Grand Valley, or really anyone in the GLIAC, it's inches. You know, every inch counts, and every minute counts, and every second counts, and you can't take any time off because you know it's going to be a 0 to 90. It's going to be an absolute fight. And so I think the team is going to be really well prepared for that type of match, and they know how important it is, and how every match is extremely important in the GLIAC. So that's what we're also telling ourselves too. It's game 1. You know, it's day 1 in conference, and so we fully expect to be prepared and to be ready for that match.
Justina individually has been on a tear for you guys, playing well. Talk about just her start of her season and how you feeling about that.
Yeah, and Justina is obviously a very quality player with a lot of different weapons. I think we need to work on her off-the-ball movement and her decision-making on the ball. Right now, a lot of her finishes are you know, from the run of play. Can we get her, you know, some more opportunities from set pieces? Can we get her in some more dangerous areas by helping her decision-making in those things? She's definitely doing a great job. You know, I think she's definitely a leading scorer right now, and She's providing a lot of attention, and I think a lot of that is also because, teams are focused on other areas and other players, so it's providing opportunities for her too. And so as that starts to shift here in scouting reports, other players are going to need to step up this weekend and do the job too.
And then, Coach, is there added pressure as conference play begins, knowing that every team you play is going to give you their best two halves of soccer that they can, knowing that you guys were top dogs last year? Is there added pressure for the team, and how do they go about kind of handling that?
No, I don't think there's added pressure, and that's kind of what I told them on the first day. Is this is the season that I feel probably the least amount of pressure because we just have such a seasoned group. I think one thing that we're dealing with is when teams tie us or they beat us, they celebrate really hard, and so that's kudos. That's some props to the program and where we are. But I think right now we are facing, as you mentioned, two halves of the very best that they have, and our team right now are taking those types of punches in each and every match, and we have to learn to deal with that, and we have to get back up, and we have to make sure that we're taking those punches and getting back up, all right, and being able to stay on the front foot. I don't feel like there's any added pressure because we've always had pressure on us. It's the same thing. I feel like we're a group that is learning how to deal with everything in real time in those moments. And so if we can continue to do that and be better in those moments, then we're going to have success.